Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Nonprofit Edge. Can you believe it? This is our last episode in the series, number 12, and it has been an unbelievable 12 episodes. This is incredible. We have been bringing you strategies, insights, tips, tools, resources for the nonprofit industry. It's been a wild ride. I'm Maureen Edwards. I have been the moderator for this series, and I have not been able to do this without the host, Joe John. Oh my gosh, can you believe we are here?
I know it went by faster than I thought it would. It was
It
great. It was
really
good.
has.
Yeah.
I have had so much fun. I have learned so much, and I know we have brought incredible value to the conversation for our nonprofits to help guide them through the complexity and the challenges today. And I could not be more proud of what we are doing. And we have special guests today to kind of, kick this off and the grand finale. And I'm going to just welcome Sarah Grill back to the mic here. She is our marketing consultant, and she provides all of our fractional services to our clients, which we are excited about. But I'm also going to have Joe introduce an unbelievable guest today who's going to be bringing a lot of unbelievable information to the table today. You want to go ahead and introduce her, Joe?
Sure. So Jenna Campbell is a dear friend and a colleague of mine for over 10 years. She came in after taking a break from teaching, and she taught herself how to use iMIS. And over the last 10 years, she's really developed into one of the top product experts. And she's a great leader on our team. And so Jenna, I'm just real grateful to have you on the team and have you here for our wrap up episode. It's very important, very special to me. Thank you.
Well, thanks for having me. And it's been a pleasure to work with you too, Joe.
Thank you.
Jenna, welcome. And this is special that you could join us on our last episode. And it's a really important one. And we kind of say that on every episode because our goal here was to bring true value. Not theory, not fluff, not just feel good. We wanted to bring every episode where we gave you specific details in technology, strategy, consulting, insights, and real specifics to move the needle and to be able to implement right away. And this is, no different. And it's about mid-year subscriptions and revenue growth beyond just growing membership. And it's treating mid-year subscriptions as a growth engine, not just a once a year good to have, but driving revenue throughout the year. So I can't think of anybody better than somebody like you and Joe to talk about how to get consistent revenue all year long, not just once a year. So I'm going to dive into a couple questions. We have a lot to cover, but between the three of you, I think we're going to bring some good information to the table. So
We're an efficient team, so
we are.
Yeah.
But even if we go over a little bit, the information is so valuable
okay.
that I don't think anybody, really cares, right? They just want it. Okay, so I think that a lot of nonprofits still, look at subscriptions and dues as a once a year hit. Let me just go ahead, get it, once a year, offer it once a year. But it's kind of shifting to year-round revenue. And so it's critical right now. Why is it shifting in that direction? And why is it so critical now? So Jenna, why don't you take this and talk about the climate? What's happening out there?
So if you have your revenue concentrated in one season, you're leaving yourself vulnerable. Because of the economic uncertainty, you want to have predictable cash flow throughout the year. You don't want to rely just on your annual dues or even one major conference a year. And I think that's because members expect ongoing value, not just like a single membership that they purchase once a year. They want their membership to be like they have their other services, personalized and ongoing. That also supports stronger retention It's because you're giving them touches throughout the year, and you're demonstrating your value uh, beyond a single "here's my membership card" kind of thing, you know. um, so a lot of our clients are starting to offer optional subscriptions throughout the year on top of membership dues, or sometimes instead of membership dues, so that members can personalize their membership.
That's a good, yeah, that's a really good way of, understanding how things have changed so dramatically. They used to just focused on, member dues, but things have changed so much because member dues cannot just be the focus anymore, especially with the decline in that. So, Joe, I want to turn it to you, but I also want, buy-in, from the panel to also take a look at this. So we talk about a growth engine. What does that true continuous growth engine really look like? I'm going to ask you that, but talk about the subscriptions and the add-ons. How does that fit in to it beyond just that cash flow? Talk about growth engine for me, and then I'll have our guests
I mean,
weigh
one of
in.
the things I've talked about in previous episodes is how, like for instance, Paul at TIA, they turn their sponsors into a class of membership, and then iMIS is very flexible. They can choose from 10 or 5 or 10 different levels, tier levels. But having that extra dimension to be able to add optional things, it gives people an a la carte, pick and choose the optional things. There's a lot of things that organizations do. One of the big advantages with optional subscriptions is that if people pay for something, even though it's optional, it's pre-checked in future years. So it's kind of like it's something they can always opt in and opt out of. And with mid-year subscriptions, it respects the billing cycle, and it only offers mid-year subscriptions if they don't currently have a bill, and anything they buy in mid-year subscriptions is pre-checked for their next billing cycle. So that's really nice. A lot of organizations talk about digital transformation, but if you want to add a new member optional benefit, it's very easy to set up an optional subscription, add it to your renewal and join cycle, and then add it to your mid-year subscription cycle. Now you got you're digitally transforming quickly, because now you got a new feature available to the market you can push out very easily, a new benefit, if you will. There's a lot of different ways of using the tool that you could I probably won't get into it for this question, but yeah, that's really what I wanted to add to what Jenna said.
Yeah. Jenna, do you have anything to add to what Joe is talking about, that growth engine aspect?
Just another example that has come up recently with several clients is having like a company membership, but then adding extra roster seats to that membership using optional subscriptions. So instead of just a single bill for the company for 1 year, they can add additional roster seats for more revenue throughout the year.
Yeah, I'd like to give it another example too. The first time I really did this, I did it myself. It was in 2020 with National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys, and they wanted to add paralegals. So they wanted lawyers to be able to add paralegals. And one of the mental hurdles that people have to go through is, in order to have a group membership with a bunch of individuals, you have to have a connector record that's technically listed as an organization, but you don't have to show that. No one has to know there's an actual record there. But once you add an individual membership, once they have an organizational record, that usually we just say, if it's Harry Smith's practice, we say Harry Smith's group. And then now you can add other paralegals, other individuals into the roster, but it's still technically an individual based membership. So I think a lot of organizations haven't really considered doing it that way, because they get hung up on the fact that it's technically an organization. But that roster management is powerful, and you don't have to show anyone that there's technically an organizational record in there, and have basically one person add and manage a whole group. And then optional subscriptions just kind of allows you to bridge a gap. So you might offer like, okay, we get 3 licenses, and then you can buy 3 more, and then you got a category for each. And what we can do is we can give people the option to add more, and then next year change their category and just include that in their standard due cycle. So it's a way to kind of like let people add levels anytime they want, and those levels get incorporated into their future billing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does. So, Sarah, I wanted to ask you because marketing is so much more than it used to be. We are kind of growth engine workers as well, right? A lot of us could be called chief revenue officers today.
Yeah.
So, from your marketing lens, how would you kind of, utilize what they are talking about, providing this extra value? Where would you take what Joe and Jenna are talking about?
Yeah, I think all the additional subscriptions and keeping the revenue going on all year round is really important. I think even with my generation, we see it more now how we need that continuous value. So even like subscriptions in our daily life, like Netflix and Spotify and things like that, people want those ongoing subscriptions and not just that one-time revenue driver for a nonprofit. So keeping those benefits are really key for just relevancy in general.
That's
Yeah,
great.
that's
That's
good. And one thing
great.
I want to add too, you can do donations through this as well. So
Oh,
you can do donations. You could tie the donation to your your foundation or whatever entity you have set up to accept it, and then users have the ability to put the actual. You can have a suggested amount, but then they can change the amount. So yeah, you can do donations. You can add chapters. You can add optional subscriptions like newsletters. You can do sections that require a high level of expertise to get into. There's just a lot of flexibility on what you can, generate more revenue. And I think to add what Sarah said, clients they like options. So
oh yeah.
you're setting yourself up for more revenue, and you're satisfying your constituency by giving them the options. Like, hey, some people want to pay a little more to get their profile pushed up on the directory. Some people want to pay a little more to be a sponsor, get a perk for sponsorship. So just having that flexibility, having a tool that can deliver that. And again, this tool is designed to work out of the box with iMIS. You set up the billing; it's all iMIS set up. You just drop the tool in place, and it's good to go. So,
And the other thing too is reminder, reminder, reminder. People have short
mhm,
attention spans. And
mhm.
if you're just doing this once a year, out of sight, out of mind, you have to keep bringing it up and bringing it up, offering them something new over and over and over again so that you keep letting them know, here's your
Right.
option, here's another option, and just letting them know that there are other opportunities, which means revenue opportunity, revenue opportunity, revenue opportunity that they never thought of,
Yeah, one
right?
way that I don't know, the way iMIS works is that organizations will bill their client usually 60 or 90 days before they're due. And then once you bill that person, they're in a billing status, and the renew now will pop up usually in a prominent place. So this mid-year subscription is designed to, we set up a security group. So when the renewal, they say renew, and or if they haven't signed up, it's join. And then if they're a member and they've already renewed, now mid-year subscription shows up. So they always have a way to purchase more and add more value for themselves, and have a tighter engagement with their nonprofit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a really intriguing question for me because this gets into the real details about what you and Jenna do. And this is the build part. So I understand when you were trying to build, this mid-year subscription thing, and you kind of went out of the box, tried it, you ran into some roadblocks. All right. And you had to switch direction. So, can you give our audience a little bit of an idea of how this process went and what you had to do to kind of pivot? Who'd like to start?
Yeah, I'll take that. So with chapters mid-year, we set up a subscription cycle out of the box, but when users went to go select a chapter in the middle of their membership term, their primary chapter was replaced, and for some organizations that's very important.
Right. Yeah.
We don't want to replace the primary chapter. Subscriptions, users were able to purchase subscriptions multiple times for multiple
Yeah,
years.
it didn't respect the fact that they already had the
Yeah.
subscription. So for whether it's a chapter or a section or a donation or a newsletter or whatever, it would just show whatever's available. They check it, and then it would make them pay for a future year. And
Yep.
we couldn't make that
You could
work.
seemingly do that forever, like push the
Right.
pay through date out. I didn't see
We
a
actually
link to that.
deployed it for Nayla, and Nayla was like, "This isn't working for us," So we had to go back to the
Yeah.
drawing board. Yeah.
And then they have to give refunds and reset. It's just adding the manual work back for the staff. So the product out of the box just did not work.
So how did you pivot to make it work?
Well, the
Or
mid-year
you don't want to share that? Is that
I'll take that one if you want.
proprietary?
yeah.
You want me to take that? So we actually we have internships come in, and one of the issues is so we asked ASI about it, and I guess it was something that worked well enough, and then we have a lot of interns coming in, and I had a technical intern, a programmer come in, and we looked, and the API for this was just. It was very difficult to work with, to be honest. I mean, normally the API is great, but this particular section of the API was a little challenging. So we had an intern spend a couple hundred hours under the advice of Andrew to tell him try this, try that, try this, and eventually we got it to work. So it was a heavier lift than we thought. But the fact that we've got constantly have a flow of interns coming in that are reasonably priced for us, we pay them, but we don't pay them as much as a full-time employee, and so it's kind of a lower cost opportunity for us to add value and figure out these fix these gaps in the marketplace with the interns. And so Cooper Meekins helped out, and he did most of the work for this, and so he did a great job.
Nice. All right, so I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about marketing, which is certainly my passion.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna turn it to Sarah, and I want to talk about how we're going to market and what strategies would work best on mid-year subscriptions, giving it its exposure, these tiered add-ons and recurring value packages. But we don't want to overwhelm the members, which can happen very, very easily. And when they get overwhelmed, we all know they check out. And once we lose them, hard to get back. We also don't want to look really pushy and salesy. So what would be some of your recommendations on how you would market these successfully?
Right, like you said, we don't want to overwhelm anybody. So I think people don't want more emails. I get emails every single day that I don't want to read, and members and anybody in a nonprofit want value. So the best strategy, I think, to get members engaged is to show them what they're missing. Not every member should get the same message. It shouldn't be a general scope. People want to be personalized and get the different segments of your nonprofit of what they want to see. So I think you also want to show how your packages and different ways of your messaging are benefiting members in real time. You can show other chapters of how they're benefiting from the mid-year subscriptions or any other product that you have. So showing the relevancy and just the right timing to show the value is really beneficial, just so your members know what they're getting and it's not a general out-of-the-box message.
So are there certain tactics you would use? I'm interested in knowing your opinion. Would you use testimonials? Would you use video, authentic behind the scenes? Would you use case studies? What would you use to demonstrate, to reach these people and demonstrate the value? How do you think, what's most impactful to you? What would change your mind and push you without being pushy?
Well, I think all three examples that you mentioned are really great. I think testimonials are really wonderful to see. We use them here at John Consulting just to see how our members really benefit from our services. So using that and seeing different chapters across the country or whatever sections that you have, can see how they're benefiting in real time. Even behind the scenes videos are really great as well. And you get that authenticity that you might not get anywhere else.
That's great. I love it.
I think it's going back to the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys. they're online direct. So a lot of these features will sell themselves. So if you go to the National Academy of Federal Law Attorneys and you look there, find a lawyer. That's an out of the box iMIS IQA based directory that I built back in the day. And sorry, I just got distracted by email. But and so really, when people go out there and they see, hey, who are these people that are being promoted with a big border and have all this extra information and shows all their credentials, and that's an add-on, that's a feature. So people see that and they're like, wait, I want to be on top in my area, my zip code. And so, and also, I think it's very important, members right now, the big keyword, obviously AI is important, but digital transformation, something happens and there's a disaster, we need to quickly get money to where people that needs help. You can create a new billing cycle for that. And then you can create it, put the iPart on a page, and then bam, you got something out there. Here, help, rescue, relief, or whatever your purpose is. You want an emergency, quick way for people to donate. You can put it out there. Somebody says, hey, I want to add a new feature. I want to make it so we can, you can just add it. I mean, it's really simple. So when clients see a nonprofit digitally trained, where they can be that adaptive quickly, it's impressive, and the membership appreciates it.
Nice. All right, Jenna, I'm going to give you this question because I want to talk about the member experience with mid-year subscription. So I want you to walk us through the proration aspects, renewal syncing, the self-service card, working together to make the adding value, preventing duplicate purchases, disrupting the existing cycle. So this is a little bit more the tech aspect. So we want, I think, more the member experience. How can we simplify this? Can you give them a little bit of an idea of how they can do this? I guess it's a little bit more technical.
Yeah, a little bit. I probably won't get too technical, but the way that Naila has it set up now is they have a sitemap item that has a security group, so that the mid-year subscription page is visible and accessible after they've paid their dues, so they know it's always there. But if they have an open invoice and they end up on the mid-year subscription page, they're going to go back to the standard page and go through the standard process. So this is truly just for adding things in the middle of the year, and it works with your existing billing cycles, so that it respects the membership term. So the subscription term aligns with their membership.
Right.
And it also respects your proration rules.
Right.
Like if somebody joined their membership in the middle of the year, it's going to work the same for their optional subscriptions. Something else that's really cool, Joe mentioned donations, but something else I wanted to mention that I think is really cool is that you can set a minimum donation amount with our mid-year subscription product.
That's right.
Yeah.
She requested that. Yeah, she didn't want $1. You gotta give $5 or something.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the hook for those credit card fees for a $1 donation.
Someone puts in 5 cents or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
But it makes sure all your subscriptions are aligned. The primary chapter does not get overwritten unless it's selected on purpose.
I mean, I can follow up with it. So what we built, and this is something that we built tailored. So, Ann Watkins at the National Academy of Law Attorneys, she's a treasure. She's always got the best ideas, and she was my first client. So we've got a really long, we got a 14-year relationship.
Mine too, yeah.
Yeah, she's really great. But so we really built this out. So basically, when people add chapters, you can it'll explicitly it'll say which one's primary, so they can pick which is primary. So that way they have total flexibility over what's their primary, because the primary chapter is saved on the contact record. It has more importance than the other optional ones. It identifies like what chapter they belong to. So to just switch which one's the primary willy-nilly it's just not going to work. So we built into the system where they can identify, it'll default whatever they currently have as their, but they can change and decide what they want their primary chapter to be. So that's a great feature. And yeah, and the fact that also it's very important that people understand mid-year subscriptions can work with multiple billing cycles. So if you want to say, okay, this one's the standard mid-year subscriptions for sponsors. Here's the mid-year subscriptions for regular members. Here's the mid-year subscriptions for corporate. You can segment it out. And you can say, okay, here's the mid-year subscriptions just for help in need, donations. So it's scalable out. You can really and I wanted to add too, the renewal out of the box works great. So all we're doing is we're kind of imitating what the out of the box renewal does mid-year. So once they're billed, just use out of the box iMIS. The renewal works great out of the box. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. All right, so I'm going to go back to Sarah on this because all of this is great, but if we don't bring it to their attention, if we don't get it in front of them, if we don't remind them, again, marketing, we always go back to that, then sometimes it's just not going to move forward. So we talked about value. Okay, so part of this question had the value part. So I don't want to go back to that, but I do want to talk about awareness. I do want to talk about how do we get it in front of them? We can keep having the pop-ups, maybe. But from your perspective, Sarah, it is harder to reach people today. So what should organizations do to promote this to current members? Like, where should they go to get it in front of them? Are there any other strategies that you could recommend?
Yeah, so I think that mid-year subscriptions are really about meeting members where they are, and you're right sizing it to where they are in their member journey. And so people, all of us here and everybody watching, really want a sense of belonging and sense of community. I think nonprofits all over want to build that community within their organization. So really messaging your value is great, but people also don't want to feel bad for joining late in the member process. So they might feel like, oh, I'm not getting the most out of my membership because I'm joining later in the year. But messaging right now, saying that you get immediate access to all these benefits and finishing the year strong. So joining whenever the member feels comfortable to, it's not a bad thing. And also providing more of a recommendation mindset. So when we go out to a restaurant or whatever, trying a new place, you get those recommendations from friends, right? Or somebody that you trust. So I think an effective marketing tactic that nonprofits could use is really showing other chapters getting value. So it's more of a recommendation instead of an upsell. So those were my thoughts.
Yeah. Social proof, social proof, social proof.
Yes.
And it's always like, if they're doing it, don't you think we should be doing it too?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really a great point, because these chapters are, nonprofits, a lot of our clients are, 1 to, 50 million, but most of them are, less than 5 million a year. And then really what it is for them to have chapters, that really engages the local people, and the chapters, to be able to give chapters a revenue stream like this really helps them out a lot. And also too, the name of the game is engagement. This is just another avenue to engage people and give them more options.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to talk about data. I always say metrics drive the creative, right? So we got to look at data member. We got to look at the insights, member insights, and looking at the iMIS tools. We have Click Tracker. We talked about that. So let's talk about, what add-ons or mid-year subscription perks that members actually want throughout the year, and how can we utilize these insights in order to move that forward. What do you think they should go ahead and incorporate? Jenna, do you want to take that on?
Yeah, so Click Tracker is going to tell you what the members are interested in. And if they're logged into iMIS, we can capture that ID and see what they're clicking on the most and target them specifically to recommend that they purchase an optional subscription, or give them similar items, like out of the box, there's you can relate products together, but we can do that for them in an email, give them similar products that they can purchase.
Yeah, just to elaborate on what Jenna's saying, so let's just spell out a hypothetical scenario. So you're a membership director and you create a page promoting a new optional subscriptions. You tag that page so you know who's clicking around it. Now you know who's showing interest. Now you know. Now you can write an IQA query and send automatic touches to them as desired. Some are going to, and again, with the pricing situation, there might be a box you check to say, 10% discount. And then, now it's like, okay, now you're going to offer these people clicking around a 10% discount, through a certain period, build some excitement. So, I mean, it just gives you insights on what you could see where people are clicking, exactly who clicked it. You assign the right staff person as the advertiser, and now they've got a dashboard. They could see what's going on with the stuff they care about on their website.
And the member, oh, sorry, Joe.
Go ahead. No, I'm done.
The member doesn't have to wait until they renew to buy it.
Right.
With mid-year subscriptions, they can go buy it right now and have it prorated and align with their regular membership term.
Yeah, and it can have its own proration. iMIS is flexible. You can create multiple proration rules. So you could have a different proration rules for a mid-year subscription, or that could be one way to give people an incentive. Oh, okay, it's half price now. And then again, it's these are optional subscriptions, but once they get it, by default, it's pre-checked on renewal. So it just tends to grow the renewal as well.
The flexibility is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It is just amazing how customized this can be. It kind of moves to my next question, and I think you covered a little bit. It's really, and I think Sarah, you did as well. And so Jenna, Sarah, I'd like for you to bounce this off together. What role does the personalization, the automation, and the technology playing in this role in driving the revenue and making it feel seamless throughout this process for the member journey and making it so member centric? Again, without making it feel pushy, without making it feel salesy. And I think you touched a little bit on Click Tracker and how this can do it. Jenna, do you want to start, or would you like to have Sarah start that?
Let me pass it over to Sarah. I think she's going to have better marketing insight.
Jenna likes to give.
I guess with my marketing perspective, kind of like I mentioned before, when a message or a promotion sounds relevant, it really doesn't feel like marketing. So it's really getting smarter with your processes and automation. It's about getting smarter and segmenting your audience. So I think one thing that nonprofits could really do, I know AI can be daunting, but even just using it to segment your audience, just type in, what are my segments of my nonprofit and who am I ignoring right now? So getting, understanding your members, whether they're low engaged or they're new to your organization, can really help you speed up your processes.
Real quickly, I think with clients, when they get marketing, it's irrelevant if it's an annoyance. When they get marketing that's relevant, it's like, oh, I'm being included. It's psychologically, so if you can really target things that based on the click data, based on their record, what they would most likely be interested in, then you're going to get just kind of massive, way more engagement with those because you're really targeting them. Yeah. Jenna,
and once you know who your segments are, you use iMIS to build out your IQAs and your emails. So, and you use your click tracker data, your demographics data, previous purchases and event registrations, all that lives in iMIS.
Yeah, and I would recommend too for organizations really looking to segment to encapsulate that logic at the business object layer. That way, if your business rules change, it's just one place to change it instead of going through 100 IQA queries. So that's my recommendation. If you're going to be looking to do segmentation, do it at the object layer. Yeah.
It's seamless for the member, but it's also seamless for people on the other side of the screen. So very, very good advice. So my final question, probably back to Sarah. and Jenna, but let's tie it all together because I think the nonprofits need the strategies to prevent the members from getting tired. They need to retain them. Once they get them, that's, half the battle, but retaining them, they can't lose them because getting them back is almost impossible. So, how do you feel AI or other trends are going to be impacting this for recurring revenue, keeping those opportunities going over the next 2 to 3 years? How can they really utilize it to retain these members and to not have them get tired with this? So, Sarah, do you want to take it? It is kind of a marketing question.
I'll start. I think I want to reiterate that there are things to avoid with emails. You don't want to send an email without any relevance. And like we've all heard before, that quality is better over quantity. So what I assume for most nonprofits is that you want to convey your mission and have a sense of belonging with your whole community. So if somebody hasn't engaged in months, or they haven't opened your emails, anything, you want to find out why. Why they haven't clicked on anything using Click Tracker or any other product to see why haven't they opened any emails, or why haven't they engaged with us on our website, anything. So I see AI right now and growing as a tool for personalization and to better understand your segments. And it just gives you a better understanding of your audience and how you can grow as an organization.
Do you think they are going to be turning to AI to replace their marketers in nonprofits?
I hope not. I see AI.
Is that a loading question?
Yeah, you're
I think we all hope not, but I see it more as a tool to speed up your processes and to just get better insight, rather than taking over a whole job. But
AI is a force multiplier, but you need that human
yes.
eye. You need a set of human eyes that know what, AI will speed Sarah up, but it's not going to replace Sarah. Yeah.
It
Exactly.
does not speed up strategy, creativity, and the humanness of marketing that can get into the psychology of the human customer. Let's all remember that. So, Jenna, any final thoughts on member fatigue, and really being able to retain these members with that mid-year subscription value prop?
So one thing I think is important is offering learning opportunities. And I think you could leverage mid-year subscriptions to sell additional learning opportunities. Everybody wants to be micro credentialed, show their CE credits. So I think organizations should really look at using mid-year subscriptions to sell learning opportunities. And if you have a learning system, an LMS, make sure it's seamlessly integrated with iMIS. Top Class does that automatically. But if you have another one, get an SSO built so people don't have to log into 2 places at once. And then track those learning opportunities.
Yeah, you could actually tie a security group to an optional subscription to say, hey, there's a special access for our Learn LMS, that there's certain things that like we give members a certain amount, or maybe you could you could upsell things like that, and then you could actually with something like Top Class, or if you have a bridge where you can make some tweaks to it, you could actually enforce the security on Top Class, where it's like, okay, they buy this, now it unlocks additional courses that are not normally available. So that's a great point. Before we close, I definitely want to add that mid-year subscriptions is not a SaaS product. It's a one-time product fee. People that have been watching watching me and watching this series know that I'm all about fairness to the customer. So this is a one-time reasonable price. We want a little bit of hours to help you configure it exactly how you want it. We got, basically we want you to be completely self-sufficient. So, we're not looking to gouge customers. We're looking to charge, a reasonable price so we can stay in business, basically. So I just want to make sure that gets out there, because probably most people would assume this is a SaaS, and it's not.
And we can teach them how to use it and set it up. in a couple of hours. So
Right.
if you have an iMIS user, we can teach them how to set it up. So you won't need us like going forward.
Right. And then that once they see it set up, then it's easy for them to copy it and make another version of it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I cannot thank everybody enough for closing our last episode and the finality of this program that we are so incredibly proud of bringing the nonprofit industry to, because it's the first and only one that has ever been done out there. And it's pretty impressive. And so I think we have to pat ourselves on the back. And so we are at the close. And I have to say thank you so much, Joe, for, really kind of stepping out of the box and moving forward with this for John Consulting and coming up with creative ideas and working with the team to say, this is what we want to bring, this is what we think is valuable, and we know this is what's going to move the needle for the nonprofit industry. And that says a lot about your knowledge, your tech experience, and what your clients need today. So kudos to you, kudos to the John Consulting team. And if you would like to reach out to everybody for your free consult, go to johnconsulting.net. We have a whole suite of new services. We also have a whole new suite of new technology out there. It isn't just about mid-year subscriptions like we're talking about now. Also, all of these episodes are living on our website. A whole new page has been set up. You can also go to our YouTube channel. They will all be there. Please follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. We also have a very impressive LinkedIn newsletter. We also have our John Consulting newsletter. So if you want tips, insights, strategies, implementation tools, the latest in technology and iMIS, this is your go-to solution and your go-to resource. You don't have to go anywhere. We've got all the expertise right here. So I also
Can I
want to
ask one quick question before we close?
Yeah.
Are we gonna talk about Sarah's upcoming
I was
series,
just
or
getting
we're gonna?
there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were
I
done.
was
I apologize.
No, I
Yeah.
wanted to let everybody know that we have
Okay.
new programs coming out. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be doing new series. We're putting all the details together as a team, and so you will hear all about it soon. So thank you very much, everybody,
Yeah. Thank
and
you.
be on
We're
the
very, very
lookout
proud
for.
of you, Sarah. You're doing great.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of everybody. Joe, it's been great working with you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
again, Jenna. Great, great information today. All
Thanks for
right.
having me.
You are so welcome. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, and
All
be
right.
on the lookout
Take
for
care.
all the great things coming from John Consulting.